Two men who need no introduction. The Hall of Famer himself, Calvin Johnson, and Rob Sims, partners together with Primitive Performance. You guys have so much going on. Thank you so much for being here, fellas.
No, man, thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Good.
Big time. I had to wear my Puma fences today. Give me a couple extra inches. You know what I'm saying?
Guys, when we heard a couple of weeks ago that you guys now partnering with Comerica Park and the Detroit Tigers, I mean, the partnership with Ford Field, this thing is moving along at a rapid pace. When you guys started business together, did you imagine this where you would be right now with these partnerships and with everybody getting on board with it?
I mean, when it first started, probably not. But, as we formulated a vision, through time as the business started, this is where we wanted to be. We wanted to set ourselves up to be able to be in a position where we could be able to have those conversations with the corporations and the leagues that we're doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we first started out, we thought it was possible. Didn't think we'd be here this soon. And it's really cool, man. We really built the brand to be something that could break through barriers, and it's starting to do that, man. So it's great to see that.
I think the education of it too, with you two guys putting your names on it, I think for a lot of people that may have had some sort of preconceived notion of what they think, cannabis is or what CBD is or anything like that, I think it kind of breaks down some barriers and some levels of that too, and they allow people to be educated about the benefits of what you guys are doing.
I mean, the platform, allows for penetration into the market at the end of the day. So that allows for that message to be able to get out there, and if we can simplify that message, the better.
I appreciate you guys. I tell you this all the time, man. Proud, fellow NFL player, fellow brother in arms, and to see what you guys are doing. It's great for other players to do it, and I think it's also great that guys are seeing it while they're still playing so that they can leverage their teams while they're playing. You know how it is, like when you're done, you're done. It's a little bit harder. I mean, unless you're going to the Hall of Fame like this brother over here, but glad to see it. Looking back at the journey, what has been the hardest part so far? And then maybe if it's still going on, it's now. What has been the hardest part in the journey?
Man, I think when you come into an industry that has that the industry is new, the rules are new, building the actual business is new. The people that are coming in and who are the experts in that business or who have experience in that business are new to that style of business. So I think it's been really just finding our place and our niche, and really sticking to our guns and saying, hey, look, this is what we do, and along with bringing a lot of those things that we learned in the league, right, and really shaping up a company we could be proud of. And a company that's got some great legs to it,
With a city coming back, I don't want to take up all the questions, but it just kind of hit me. With a city that's coming back in Detroit, you see the Hudson building, you see the Lions, you see the moving and shaking downtown. Like getting in with the Tigers, has it made a bit easier to penetrate downtown Detroit as it relates to some corporations and things of that nature?
It's a good time for the city. It's a good time for, I guess you could say, new things. And then cannabis and not necessarily cannabis, but when we were talking about the minor cannabinoids, the CBD, CBG, CBN, and CBC, and how those things come together and create that great anti-inflammatory product. Timing-wise, I think it's great timing.
Hey guys, this is a topical solution, so this is something that you could put on an ache and pain, and it's going to go right in there. It's going to help. You get stuff over the counter. But this stuff's going to be a little bit better, I would think, huh? A little bit more quickly acting.
Yeah, I mean, I think the cool thing about what we've done here is like we combined our former world in football and how we deal with pain management and our current world, right, and fuse those together. So, not only are you getting a CBD product, but you're getting a CBD product that we would use when we were playing.
Yeah. Right.
So it's got a PLO base along with the other minor cannabinoids we were talking about. And, we just really focused on being anti-inflammatory and putting those properties into it. So the group SIP that helped us put this together, man, we really thought they were forward-thinking in what they were doing. And, the outcome is beautiful, man. We think we got something that's really special that can compete, with topicals in general, just not CBD. Right. So we think it's some of the future.
And a big differentiator is when we talk about the technology. It's pharmaceutical-grade technology. We're using nanoparticles. And what that does is it allows it to penetrate our systems, getting through the intestinal system, getting into the bloodstream, making it more bioavailable for the user, and in the end, more efficacious.
And you talk about the user, Calvin. You do not have to be a professional athlete to see the benefits. I mean, this is for people like Tom Mazaway, who pulls a hamstring walking out of his car, stepping out of his car, waking up in the morning, getting out of his bed.
I got a bad elbow right now.
I mean, Rob said it, man. We use it. We made it with us in mind, professional athlete in mind, but it's for everybody. Anybody with those everyday bumps and bruises, any kind of inflammation, use it.
Why'd you have to make me as the?
Well, I was going to say me, but I thought you'd be a little bit bigger of a punching bag.
Yeah, of course, of course.
But again, anybody with aches, it's all about recovery. And I think back to when you guys are players, and I was never a player, although I never came out of the game in high school. I was a very good high school player, I'll have you know. Sorry, that's Braylon
okay.
hears that stuff.
That's all right.
but
I gotta rock with you, my guy.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Bray.
Sure.
If you guys had something like this available to you when you were a player, I think all these documentaries that I see with former players and all the pills that they pop just to get through the day,
livers and kidneys, just beat
it doesn't have to be like that. I mean, do you think about that person as well when you have this product like this?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. My father played in the NFL, so I heard stories of a generation even before ours about, what different remedies they would use to be ready to play on the field. You know what I mean? And,
beer.
we would hear those things now and think they were nuts, but that's how they cope, right? So now, for us, I just think if we had this product that was fast acting, you know what I mean? Those 17 train wrecks that you got to go through a year, you know what I mean? I think that would definitely benefit us.
When will all the sports, the main bodies of all these sports, the NHL, Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, NFL, when will they all accept everything and just let it be legal?
I mean, you always have this effect where everybody's looking at each other and seeing what happens. Obviously, the NFL seems to be always the last one, and for the NFL, this is technically like a bargaining chip for the owners, with the players. And that's at the end of the day, it's business. Yep. But for some of these, NFL, what's it, MLB's in, NBA, I believe, is in. Correct me if I'm wrong. What other league is in?
You think NHL?
NHL.
Soccer?
I think soccer.
Yeah, soccer's in.
I think soccer is in.
But it's just a snowball effect.
Yeah.
It's just the beginning.
And you think about a pitcher in baseball too. Can you imagine, like,
He a little arm,
right?
A little relief. For sure.
A little bit of relief. There's no doubt about it. Primitive relief. Primitiveperformance.com is the website if you want to check it out. Calvin Johnson, Rob Sims in the house. Fellas, it's so great to be with you. And I know we want to talk a little bit about some football as well. But Bray, you had one more you wanted to talk about?
No, I wanted to ask a question. You know what I want to ask?
Oh, go ahead, man.
Did you guys see what Austin Rivers said?
So I had a comment earlier today.
Let's talk about this.
It's just laughable, we just passed through it, But I was talking with Chris Canty earlier today. Okay. And we looked at it and we just laughed about it. Yeah. It's just like, bro, it's not the same. It's not the same. They don't have to get up off the ground and grind. I mean, they play a lot of games.
A lot of love.
It's a whole 100% respect the grind. And it might not have came off like that when I said it earlier today. It was laughable
you feel
to
the
me.
type of way.
It's laughable because it's just the way we got to harden our bodies.
So what did he say, actually? Tell in case someone doesn't know what
Austin Rivers said that 30 players in the NBA right now could play in the NFL, but there are not 30 players in the NFL that could play in the NBA. Although he may be correct about that, there's no way there's 30 players in the NBA that could play in the NFL. I know two. No LeBron James in his prime and Anthony Edwards.
And it was a little bit more. It was a little bit more offensive than that, Bray. It was. I can name 30 players right now off the top of my head.
It was the ease in which the comment came out. It was like, oh yeah, you're like, whoa, Austin.
But what they're seeing is a different NFL too. Than what we played in. The rules are a little different.
This is true.
It's not, it's a little bit, it's not
hands off.
We see it like today. We was like, how they just be
1,700
yards. After 5 yards, contact, all that. I was like, that could have been useful back in the day. We could have used that.
Look, the basketball, some of the best athletes in the world, you give them a lot of credit. But everybody, and I said this on the air, two things in this argument. One, every basketball player has that story. It was like, look, man, I went up for a pass, got hit, and I went to the basketball court. And the other thing about it, we got Bo, we got Dion. It's nothing else to talk about. There's nothing else to talk about.
You talk about the new rules in the NFL. Were you guys surprised? Obviously, NFL draft a couple of weeks ago, 14 players in a row in the first round taken on offense. 22 players, I believe. Actually, it's more than 22 players. An NFL
25?
record, 25 players taken from the offensive side of the ball.
Makes sense.
It is just an offensive league now. These defenders are crippled.
Yeah, exactly what we're saying. They're making it a lot easier for the guys on offense. So why not? You got to pour into it.
My goodness. What do you guys make of where the Lions are this year? A lot of people believe they are Super Bowl favorites in the NFC. I mean, the favorite in the NFC, just how far this organization has come.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really good about, what they've done, especially in the draft and the offseason. If I look back on when we played, we had star power, we had good offense, we had upcoming defense, but we just didn't hit in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell the way they're drafting, they're really intentional about the picks. And they're looking way down the road, right? They're bringing in projects in the third round that they're looking and saying, man, we got this great offensive line that, we spend a lot of money on. That's going to be able to, this guy's going to be able to fit right in. So you see them making those strategic plays. So, I mean, they're building it for the long haul, man, just not, trying to get the Super Bowl this year. So, I think we got a lot of years of fun football in front of us.
How about that kid you were just talking about? 6'8", 350 pounds from British Columbia. He's going to play offensive line.
You can't coach that. You can't coach that size, man. That guy, he wakes up with something special every day. You know what I mean? And to be in the room, I just think about him being in the room with Panay.
Yeah.
And you got this guy that is larger than life offensive tackle that's going to be special, and this kid's going to be able to learn from him.
Yep.
So it's going to be great.
Fantastic.
Speaking of Panay, you guys play the two positions. I'm going to ask a question about how do you feel in terms of Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, the front office, paying their guys when they deserve it, so you don't have to waste time with the back and forth. I know you yourself experience things of that nature. Just talk about what that does to players on the team.
Yeah, there's no. I mean, that the team is all in on you. They're invested on you. When you feel that, when they're all in on you, then it's hard for you not to be all in, especially with the way this organization is designed. Obviously, with Brad making moves and doing his thing with his history, and then obviously the player coach and Dan Campbell and what he surrounded himself with.
I saw that Amon-Ra St. Brown deal. I was like, good for him. And then he back in this.
No, you actually hated it. You were like, why couldn't I play now?
But you know what? It's only 2 wide receivers I've ever hated on. Like, I don't hate on anybody's money. I don't count anybody's chicken. But when I saw Christian Kirk get 24.5, and I saw a guy that used to play here go to New York and get $21 million.
Kenny Galladay.
What? He's not even in the league anymore.
I digress.
Hey, Rob, I want to ask you an offensive line question. When you look at these guys, what are some of these guys going through? Whether it's Frank Ragnow or Taylor Decker or Zeitler, guys that are, getting closer to the end than to the beginning, especially now in the summer. Everybody thinks it's, you just show up to the game and play. This is where the work's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Right
now.
Yeah. Like, what are those guys going through when do they say, how much longer do I want to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I think you saw it with, Jason Kelce was like a great representation of a guy, a warrior that had gone and done everything you can do at offensive line. And he was like, this might be it. Mm-hmm. We all kind of saw that. These guys are not there yet. I think they still got some strong years ahead of them, but that knee is hurting right now.
Right.
Right. Them shoulders is hurting right now. You wondering April, May, hey, why isn't this feeling better like it used to? Right. And man, I'm a couple months away when I got to go back into it where I won't feel a certain way. So that's a mental grind, when they feel like that. But like I said, man, when you got the other guys, you can kind of pull that energy out of, and you got Pro Bowlers and all-world players up there, man. So it's a different feel when you got that kind of room.
Okay, I got to ask you another wide receiver question. Without trying to get you in trouble, what does number 9 need to be working on this offseason so that he can come to the table and put himself in the best position to have success? This is year 3 for Jameson Williams. We know what happened in year 1. He was coming off the ACL injury. We know what happened in year 2. What does he need to be working on so that the Lions can get the best out of him?
Man, his availability. And I think when I say availability, it really just hardening his body so that he's ready to go for 17 games. Obviously, that's hard to play a full season, but making sure your body is ready to go because things are going to come together for him. He's got to be on the field. The kid can make plays.
Yeah.
We can maneuver and coach little little things.
So
that
NFC Championship game.
Yeah, we could get those little bit things out and make sure he focuses here and there. Those are day-by-day things that we get. But as long as he's there for us throughout the season, as long as his body is available and ready to endure the season, we're going to be all right. As long as he's available, as long as my guys are available, I have confidence that they're going to make the plays.
Boy, you getting passionate over there about the plan. I love it.
He should be coaching.
Be jacked up over there.
About the loss of Josh Reynolds, a guy that was terrific for the Lions for the 2 years that he was here with Jared Goff. I mean, he made Jared Goff feel at home, come over from the Rams, former teammate. And then we know what happened. He had a bad game in the NFC Championship. They didn't re-sign him. He wanted a little bit more money than they wanted to give him. What's your take on his loss, Donovan Peoples-Jones being here? They had an undrafted free agent from Illinois that they brought in. What's your take on the wide receiver position going forward?
We definitely have our 1 and 2 solid. We got to get that third one solidified. Hopefully, Peoples-Jones can be that big playmaker that comes in like Reynolds did. Always just Mr. Consistent. When we need him. Obviously, he had the tough game there at the end. And a lot. I'm sure. If those plays are made, then obviously those conversations go a lot differently. But it's just unfortunate that the timing of that. But I fully believe that Peoples-Jones being back at home in his backyard, hopefully that gives him a little energy to go out here and make some moves.
What do you think the biggest challenge for the Detroit Lions will be this year is? I think for a lot of us, they made it to the NFC Championship game last year, and you just automatically assume, well, they're going to get back there next year and maybe even beyond. How difficult is it to really take things in front of you? And what do you think some of those guys are thinking about right now in their biggest challenge this year?
I think the biggest thing is not to be thinking about the Super Bowl and the playoffs right now, right? It needs to be a one-step process. It's a process to get there. And even though, the city can be excited and have high hopes, those guys need to be obsessed about the actual work and the day-to-day work that it's going to take, right? We always not on our company when we're playing, it's always about keep stacking, right? They got to keep stacking those good days on top of good days. And there's gonna be a lot of us that's gonna be patting them on the back and saying how great they are, but it's a new season. Regardless, man, they got to go climb the mountain again. So they got to tool back up.
Is that kind of like that intentional drafting that you were talking about? You have to find guys that are willing to think like that, work like that, and that's what they've been doing over the course of the last several years.
I mean, the new guys when they come in, they're still wide-eyed. I mean, even if they came off a championship team, they're still wide-eyed looking for the leadership in the room, and hopefully that leadership isn't like you say, like Rob was saying, living off of the year before. Hopefully they're looking back and it's like, dang, I could have did this better. I could have did this better, and start working on those things on a day-to-day basis so that when they come to those moments in the game, it's automatic.
What'd you guys think of? I'm sorry, Blake.
Go ahead,
What'd you guys think of the NFL draft here in Detroit? I mean, did we knock it out? Hey, you stole my Jameson Williams, but I'm stealing this one.
Man, I tell you, I thought it was great on a lot of different levels. The biggest level for me is when I first got here, that Campus Marshes area and that Woodward area, that wasn't there. It wasn't like that,
Say that again.
So
I'm from here.
I look 13, 14 years later and what that's turned into. This was a way we got to pull the curtain back and people to see what the new Detroit looked like.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's what I thought was the coolest part about it, right? So now that stereotype, like it is in our business, right? You start to break down that barrier or those stigmas of what your city is, and more and more stuff comes, and it gets better and better from there.
Guys, I saw you got a chance to go on stage on Thursday night, the opening night. You got a chance to go out there. I was there on Friday night, got a chance to go across that stage. Isn't it crazy how things come full circle? How was that experience being back, being on the stage again, if you will, and saying for myself?
It's crazy, man. Just from, all right, so being on the stage in New York, obviously it's changed cities and all that now. But being on stage and coming here to Detroit, driving downtown, seeing the city then, burnt down buildings, skyscrapers with blown out windows. It wasn't the murder capital, just maybe not too long before. But fast forward 17 years and the investment in the city, all the people that have come and put money into this town, and the sports teams are on the up and up. And seeing the draft come back and the beauty of our city, and now the report card we're getting now is an A from the draft. Or just from our city, not necessarily from the draft. Right. But and then, the fact of being on stage, just seeing I didn't know it was Campus Martians. I didn't know where I was in Detroit because all I saw is 275,000 people. You know, so it was amazing. It was quite an event. I never would have imagined, you know, Detroit having such an event.
I mean, really, the Lion fans, they showed out.
They did.
We all knew what the Lion fans were. I don't think the nation really knew what the Lions fans were until the last couple of years because the Lions own the road.
I think that
they're
Bills
on the
Mafia
road.
stuff is over. I
They're
think
on the road,
Lions-
man. You see the blue in the stands.
Yep.
You hear the Jared Goff chants after they pick Caleb Williams. They're yelling Jared Goff. They're walking out of the place at 11 o'clock at night doing a Lion fight song. And then when they make their pick, the roar that went up is just I got the chills just thinking about it.
Well, it's funny you talk about getting drafted to Detroit 17 years ago or whatever. Even Amon-Ra St. Brown, I don't know if you heard this from a couple of days ago. He said, yeah, when I got drafted to Detroit, you think you're going someplace to die. You know what I mean? Not literally, but career-wise. Career-wise. You know, you're not excited to play for the Detroit Lions franchise. But now these guys want to play for the Lions. That's just 4 years. You know what I mean? That's just the mindset of going to a place for career suicide and then going to a place now where people believe is a favorite to win the NFC and make it to the Super Bowl. That's a hell of a turnaround, you know?
Absolutely.
The thing I love about it is, you know, growing up, unless you got a Joe Dumars who and Isaiah Thomas invested, got companies, started companies, and they stayed. Most people, when their career was over, they were leaving Detroit. Like, I remember going to other cities and just, like, walking into, you know, insert NFL player, NBA player, artist here, because they stay in those cities, those big markets. But seeing, like, guys like yourself, stay in the city, reinvest in the city, that's where the city can start winning. When you get the players, you get the people reinvest in the city. I love it.
Guys, I know we got to get you out of here. A final note on Primitive.
Only 10 more questions.
What's next for you guys? I mean, it is the growth of your company and the success of your company and the partnerships, again, with Ford Field and the Detroit Tigers. Like, do you guys have skull session meetings? Like, okay, what can we do next? I mean, it just seems like the growth is on such a rise.
I mean, you know, sky's the limit. You know, like Calvin said, it's really about just starting to open the door, and then you can kick the door down and go run through it. You know, so I think you'll see, you know, other teams eventually, and as we continue to keep breaking down the barriers, I mean, you're going to see us in more and more places. There's no place that product can't go. You know, that's the thing about it. We built it for that. We built the branding for that, so that it could be in a place where children are walking by, right? And grandma could go pick it up and want to get it. So that's all been intentional, man. So it's sky's the limit.
It's awesome.
Not only that, but creating a suite of products, man. Being able to come out with a suite of products, you know, along in the same primitive performance line. You know, that's what's exciting. You know, and like Rob said, kicking down doors and being able to create more partnerships, obviously in the professional sports realm, collegiate realm. It's so many tentacles that we have from this business, and there's new things that pop up every day. But we're focused on what we're trying to do right here, and you know, opportunities will come as they may.
It's awesome.
Hey, look, I got the last one for you, Calvin, and it still sticks with me to this day. They don't know what a catch is, really, still to this day.
I don't know what a catch is. Like,
I can't get the Bears game out of my head. I can't, and then I can't get the Des Bryant game against the Green Bay in the playoffs after they ripped us off the week prior to that.
He's not lying to you, by the way. He literally can't get it out of his
head. That's a catch. What you're? Am I wrong? Is that not a catch? What you did?
Get why you can't get it out your head, because that started off the season on the wrong foot, and it just cascaded. You know, they just went hard, right, left, or whatever. So, man, you ain't the only one. You know, I try to forget it, and then you mention it. So.
I still have nightmares.
I'm sorry, but that's a catch.
Think about the bus ride home.
Right there.
I'm done.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. All the best. We are your biggest fans. Thank you so much. And we invite everybody to check out primitiveperformance.com. Primitiveperformance.com on the internet. Check out all their great products and get some help, get some relief.
For sure.
Calvin Johnson, Rob Sims, thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.